It really comes down to the specific situation or the build in this case, which is the situation, right? So if we're talking about my computer, I unfortunately uh, bottlenecked my own computer indirectly. Uh, I could be getting more performance uh, if I just changed one component. Can you guess what component?
The CPU.
No, no. Now this will kind of surprise you, but no, it is not my CPU. Give me like two more guesses. You're
The
bound
RAM.
to get it though. No, actually, no, no. The computer is as good as the RAM, sure, but my RAM. So you understand, my RAM. I think it's from G Skills. Uh, but it's running on the type of it is DDR4, uh, two 8 GB uh, slots, and for 16 GB in total. That is not where I'm bottlenecking the system. In fact, I barely reach 16 GB.
Yeah.
I reach on like max load on any given point. I reach around like 10 GB if
Yep.
I'm like doing multitasking because I have a dual monitor setup. So I will be multitasking a lot of times. Uh, I think a basic example of like everyday use that I have with these dual monitors that are putting on the load is running Discord on a second monitor and watching a YouTube video on a web browser with multiple tabs open on a second monitor as well while I'm gaming on my main monitor. So that's what you could expect with in terms of memory, how much I'm using. Uh, I think under extreme loads, that's only when I am downloading something. So moving on. You have one more guess on how I'm bottlenecking my system. One component.
There's no way it's the thermal paste. There's no way.
Actually, the thermal paste isn't the issue. Actually, my cooling uh is I would deem it as all right.
Oh wait. Let me have one more guess. Hold on, hold on. I think
Uh, well, let me just finish the
I got you. I
in
got
terms of cooling, right?
you. Yeah.
In terms of cooling, I'm pretty sure I'm running a course. Yep, I'm running a Corsair. I'm not entirely sure about what cooler it is, but it's to give you the size factor of it. It's running in a mid-sized tower.
Yeah.
Also, in terms of cooling, my system is actually kind of bad in cooling. Not in terms of the temperatures that I have, but like the potential of the cooling layout that I have is awful, and that mostly comes from the case itself. I believe it's an Inwin case, and practically all around the case is nothing but tempered glass, and so essentially there isn't any room for airflow. There's no mesh, right? Even the front is glass, so the only natural air is from the bottom of the case and expelling out the back.
Yeah.
So you have your last guess again. So you said you wanted to guess.
Um. Well, damn. Now I don't know because you mentioned the cooling. How it was. I'd say RGB.
RGB.
Yeah. Doesn't that like lessen performance a little bit when
So
you do it?
So I do have a Corsair fans, and they did come with like a an RGB controller,
Yeah.
and how it does impact performance. It does. You could see it in Task Manager. At times, it could take up around 14% of my CPU usage, which is utterly insane. Uh, However, it's an easy fix. I just end the task and it just ceases to exist. So that's typically running every boot up. Whenever I want to play a game and watch YouTube at the same time, I typically uh, end that task. Or if I'm playing in VR, I don't want it to stutter as much. But however, that is not technically a bottleneck uh, in my eyes. If I'm able to fix the problem with the task manager, I wouldn't say that's a bottleneck. In my words, I believe a bottleneck is something with the hardware components that you actually cannot change unless you buy a new component uh, in its place to boost performance than it was before. So unfortunately, you ran out of all guesses, four guesses in total, but I'm bottlenecking my computer with one component, and that component is my motherboard.
Oh no. Fuck. That's like the main one. Shit.
so, so don't get me wrong, it's a good motherboard. Well, no, in my words, it's a good motherboard. You might maybe find some reviews. I haven't looked into it. You may find some reviews that say otherwise. However, for me, it's a fully functioning motherboard. I've been using my computer exactly since like 2017, 2018. I'm bound for an upgrade. However, um, the one thing, uh, if I hmm, if I were to say I can't get a completely new system and I could only change out parts in my current system, it would be the motherboard and getting more RAM. I know I stated before that I barely even reached around 16 gigabytes. I do believe there's a benefit of having more than you could even use, which would be around 32 gigabytes of RAM. So that's one thing I would add. However, the most important thing that I need to change or would change is the motherboard. So let me tell you the motherboard. Uh it's from Asus. I'm a big Asus guy. All right. So this is the Asus Strix H270F gaming motherboard. And why is this motherboard bottlenecking my computer? Well, this computer, some of you, if you are listening to this, you could already tell by the name of the motherboard or like what how it's named. Because I'm pretty sure, uh, depending on how motherboards are named, are is what they're capable of. And so this motherboard does not allow overclocking. Uh, my GPU is allowed to overclock, and so is my CPU. However, this motherboard just does not allow it. Um, I'm pretty sure I read in like the product page, I couldn't I couldn't overclock anyways. But in my head, I was like, well, I don't really need to overclock. If I'm getting a 1080 Ti, I think I'm fine. I don't think I have the want to overclock. However, I wasn't looking at the correct area, right? I was thinking it basing off of the 1080 Ti. However, my system suffers from computing, the CPU usage. So if I were able to overclock the CPU, my computer system would run better than it is right now. So the 1080 Ti is completely fine. The CPU right now is okay. However, it could be better. if I had a different motherboard.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah. So,
How do you think your build stacks? Let's say someone today decided just to build like a maybe like let's say a 3080, right? Because
mhm.
I've seen some videos where the 1080 still pushing it and like still close to the frame rate, which is insane to me.
well,
But
well, there's how. Yeah. I'm sorry.
sorry, my bad. um, how do you? My question is, how do you think it just stacks up?
How it fares against like a 3080.
Yeah.
Well, I think I think my 1080 definitely has value. Uh, for me getting it around $900 back in the day when it recently came out, I think it was a steal. Uh, however, I will say that I think over the years since 2017, 2018, I think for the value of $900, you can get better performance elsewhere. Uh, I think if we're just basing it off of performance alone and not the price tag, uh, I do think a 3080 does have some advantages over a 1080. Um, but this is all subjective. We do I think the easy way to put this into words is a valve index. All right, let's bring a VR system into play. Right, a valve index is able to function off of a 9070. Oh, Jesus, a 9070 doesn't exist. A 970, right? A 970 was ages ago. In fact, my cousin used to have a computer that had dual 980 Ti's, and that was the shit back in the day, right? He was able to play back Black Ops 3 on maximum settings with two of those cards running in SLI, right? Of course, if you understand about graphics cards, uh, running an SLI gives you such an advantage, and uh, being a TI system will always give you a benefit of the doubt. So if you were to pair my 1080 Ti to a 3080, not a Ti, just a regular 3080, I think they will be probably neck and neck. I wouldn't say my computer system as a whole, but I think if you were to just take out my card, my 1080 Ti, and pair it against a 3080, it would be almost the same. However, if you change the scenario to a 1080 Ti versus a 1080 Ti, a 3080 Ti, so a 1080 Ti and a 3080 Ti going against each other, you will see that 3080 Ti surpass. Uh, this is really prevalent in most recent games, supporting uh, some of the new innovations that have come out for video game graphics. Uh, I think DLSS and NVIDIA Reflex is is pretty crazy right now in terms of uh, performance, and especially when you run NVIDIA Boost in games. I've seen some games supporting the Boost, uh, and it really benefits from a newer generation card. Uh, this will always be the case, right? Especially with the 40 series. Uh, some would say that the 40 series is better or worse than the 30 series because they perform exactly the same. They are the same card. However, the only difference is that the 40 series has AI capability. And I honestly think that the AI capabilities will become more prevalent as new cards come out. Why is this, right? Well, the AI just has it's so complicated, but I think you could an example for this is the new Unreal Engine. The Unreal Engine, I think it's 5.2 or whatever. The new Unreal Engine is utilizing AI capabilities. And you've seen it. It's insane. It's insane. And that's why China as well is looking into cards that aren't necessarily powerful but have those AI capabilities. So I know I went off on a tangent, but my 1080 Ti against a 3080 Ti, uh, uh, practically on par, I would say. However, the 1080 Ti versus a 3080 Ti, uh, no bueno, no bueno.
I get you. I get you. It's
Well,
still pretty crazy because it's a
oh yeah,
bang for your buck, right?
oh yeah, oh yeah. So my my NVIDIA GTX 1080 Ti, all right, is an Asus Strix, and I think it was around 10 to 20% uh, better than a original Founders Edition 1080 Ti.
Damn.
So if you were to take a 3080 Founders Edition, maybe my 1080 Ti from Asus is better. Um, if you take a 3080 Ti Founders Edition, uh, it might run on par or it just might be better. Uh, However, if you were to get a branded version of a 3080, it would probably just be a boost in performance all around because you gotta understand founder cards are are just the setting stone. And then these companies like Asus, MSI, EVG, well, not EVGA anymore. They don't. I am. I think they don't make cards anymore. But you get what I mean. Those cards will be better than the Founders Edition cards in terms of cooling. Uh, I think it really boosts the performance for that.
I
I'm
get you. I
just
get
fucking
you.
talking, bro. I'm just, I'm
It's an
just,
interview, man.
I know.
It's fine. The
Uh,
floor is yours. Whew. But yeah, let's see. I guess what advice if someone's looking for, the best performance, right? But they would maybe they have like a $1,000 budget or maybe a $1,200 budget. Which graphics card would you most likely tell them to go for?
a $1,200 budget.
Yep.
A $1,200 budget.
Or maybe all right,
Um.
I'll raise it up because
Well, no, 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 no. The $1,200 budget would be pretty good these days. Uh, I think we should go surfing on the most common website uh to get graphic cards, and other than what computer people would say is Newegg, uh, I believe Amazon is the most high traffic area for computer components. Um, So right out of the bat, I found a Zotac RTX 4080 for just about the price uh, of what we're looking for, $1,199, right on the dot. Um, I I I wouldn't recommend going for a 40 series. Uh, I if you're looking for the AI capabilities, I would wait until the 50 series or whatever next series comes out. Whatever number, I'm pretty sure it's the 50 series, but they could be like Samsung and name their phone from uh, S10 to S20. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh, I think your best bang for your buck is a 3080, 3080 Ti. Um, let's see here. Some listings uh, from EVGA and Gigabyte are higher than the budget of uh, $1,200. Uh, However, there you can easily find other listings that are below $1,000. Uh, Most of those cases can be whether it's renewed or refurbished, and I feel like there's a lot of bad press against new and refurbished cards. Um, if it's a card, then they would have to make sure it runs well. And sometimes you could get more out of it if you overclock it, you know? So I'm finding an Asus Strix 3080 Ti that is about $1,000 that is renewed. So it sounds pretty insane to me, in my opinion. I would pick up this card for myself, to be honest. Um, However, I don't have that kind of money at this point. I think it is important to note that maybe the prices for these cards are pretty. Um, I think they're even averaging out, or they're slightly above what they should be for the market. If you aren't able to obtain a 3080, uh, I would suggest heavily on a 3070. These cards, in my opinion, can rival uh, a 1080 Ti, uh, given the price point out of the performance. You could find a new 3070 Ti at $700. And I think you're getting a huge value comparison over a 1080 Ti, uh, specifically my 1080 Ti. I'll link you. I'll link you one of the 3070s that I'm looking at. Directly new, you could get a warranty from Amazon if you want, but for $700, um, you're getting a not only a RTX card for ray tracing, but you're also getting the better performance of a new card as well. I think anything above a 30 series is good. I do think a 2080 is all right. However, I wouldn't even bother anything below a 2080 from the 20 series. I can recommend a 1080 Ti. That's a actually let's see the prices of 1080 Ti's these days. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I could definitely recommend a 1080 Ti these days because they're way below they're way below $1,000. I'm seeing some for 700, 500, 400. Uh you could even get two cards of a 1080 Ti and run them in SLI, and I think that's a pretty good uh, setup. Uh, let's see here. I do think for today, as of recording this on the 24th of April, uh, if you were to have a budget of $1,200, I would try to look for a 3080 Ti to get the best performance. And although you blew probably all of $1,200 just for a graphics card, at least you got a pretty damn good one. All right. Uh, you probably won't have to change that card out for around 7 to 10 years for sure.
Yeah, that's honestly pretty good. They
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm just like, I don't know, I'm just so impressed by the 1080 Ti, bro. Like, how is that still kicking?
I think I think it's unfortunately slowing down. Not It's proven that the hardware components themselves aren't slowing down at all. They stay stagnant. However, software is what slows down these components. And I think with perhaps the drivers from NVIDIA or GeForce Experience specifically for NVIDIA cards are and Windows updates uh, slow down uh, the components just solely from software. And over time, uh, the 1080 will be obsolete. It will be. It just eventually. Right now, it's kicking. Um, but maybe in 5 years, it might not. In 5 years, it might be required for me to upgrade. In fact, I think for me being a computer guy, I might be inclined to upgrade sooner than later. I do want to see what the 50 series has to offer. Uh, and if it blows me out of it blows my mind, then I'll absolutely think about upgrading. However, you will, if I am upgrading, you will not see me get a 40 series. It might either be a 30 series or a 50 series, but I'm completely skipping the 40 series. I think the 40 series are the prices are blown out of proportion, and I think they're trying to get some buys just from intermediate card. I think a 40 series is just an intermediate level before we see the real power. Whether that's the next series with the 50 series or even the next one after that, the 60 series. I think the best is yet to come. Uh, I think I think some of the cards now that we have floating around today uh, will either rise in price or decrease in price depending on the performance of the next series. If they'll always try to market it as like either a 10% or a 20% performance boost over the current gen. Uh, that's what happened to the 40 series. It's literally instead of being what we imagine to be like a 50% performance upgrade, the 40 series over the 30 series card is literally like 10% to like nothing, like 5 to 10% boost. So I think the price jump of like 300, 400 to $500 in comparison between a 40 and a 30 series card, it's pretty stupid. I think they're trying to get more money out of you for a 40 series. I think right now you could invest in a 3080 Ti or just a 30 series, or you stoop down a price range to join the 1080 crowd. Me. So, uh, I wouldn't bother getting a Founders Edition card. They're literally just test benches. I know some people get Founders Edition cards so they could just have the new card for the sakes of having a new card. But I think it ultimately bites them in the ass because if they just wait a little bit, they could get a card that might just be stronger from a brand, from Zotac or MSI, whether it's cooling or overclocking capabilities. I know the Founders Edition cards are able to be overclocked. However, uh, it's literally just ground zero for other brands to take it apart and put it back together better.
I get you. I get you. Let's see. I guess my next question is for the next generation console, right?
Hmm.
Like the PS5, Xbox Series X, and even the S. How do you think for what you're getting in the Series S, it's perfectly reasonable that it does 1440p to 1080p depending on which FPS you choose, whether it's 60 or 120. Do you think, given it's almost the same performance as a X and a PS5, is it worth saving $200 to just get the S? If you were a casual gamer, in their perspective.
I think in a perspective of a casual gamer, they would want a good performing system while at operating at a lower cost. Uh, I think even if you weren't a casual, I think that's still your philosophy of trying to get the best performance out of little cost. Uh, I think I think today, while PS5 and Xbox X Series X is competing against each other, and they're trying to operate on higher frame rate or better quality. I think I think that's the issue there. I think compared to a computer doesn't need to sacrifice one or the other, depending on the system. How much money you put into a computer is what you're getting back. I think at a cost of a PS5, you're getting good performance, and on the other coin, you're also getting uh, good quality at the sacrifice of performance. That's why you see games advertising performance mode uh, for their games on the consoles because you could either choose one or the other. You could either have a beautiful looking game, but it runs at 30 FPS, or you could have a good performing game, quote unquote, at 60 FPS, but run on a standard resolution. Uh, I think I think whether you want to play on 1440p or 1080p is subjective. I think there's a slight difference. However, the console, when it's advertising that it could do higher resolutions, is very limited by the TV or monitor that it's outputting to. Uh, I think gaming consoles are inherently hindered by the use of HDMI. I think HDMI is is literally holding back consoles. If there was a way to transfer the technology into a display port, I know the sound won't be displayed, and headphones might be required 100% of the time if you want to hear. but the performance you get from out of a direct port or out over a HDMI is light and day. I think that's only because of specifically a monitor's refresh rate. Uh, if the gaming consoles of today are able to utilize refresh rates of 120 and 144, I absolutely would recommend a casual gamer to get a console, whether that's a Series S or a Series X, that's up to them. However, I think uh, the companies, whether it's PlayStation or Xbox slash Microsoft, that are making these consoles, uh, would advertise the different systems uh, to have different capabilities. I think if there was a new gaming console tomorrow, let's just call it the Series S, and X, right? Uh, they would say that the Series S does not display uh, up to 144. It's only locked at 60 hertz. However, it costs $200 less than the Series X. However, the Series X is able to play uh, at 144 frames at 444 hertz refresh rate. Um, I think I think it's astronomical. For me, it's definitely down to the refresh rate for gaming, and refresh rate ultimately comes down to frames. I think the consoles of today have one thing right, and that's the frames. I know some games might run on 120 frames. I'm pretty sure. I think maybe Rainbow Six Siege does on the series. I'm not entirely sure. Don't quote me on that. But
You
but
are correct.
but it is significantly hindered because the refresh rate or the output is capped at 60. Uh, you might say that 60 frames is uh is good, which I would say yes, it is good. 60 frames is good, right? And some people say that we only see the human eye can only see 30 to 60 FPS. It's like, okay, sure, that's fine. However, it is impossible to deny that uh, anything over 60 frames is just innately better. Why is it better? Well, let's explain the frame rate to the 2 hertz, right? If you have 60 FPS that is playing from Xbox, right? And you're displaying it to a TV. A TV is either capped at 30 hertz or 60 hertz. And if it's playing at 60 FPS, you will be seeing the full 60 FPS on a 60 hertz TV. However, let's say uh, you're running at 120 frames in the game. However, the TV is capped at 60. Instead of seeing the full 20 frames, you are only seeing the 60 frames from the display. So unless the consoles are able to utilize higher refresh rate displays, then I'm just not ever going to be a console player. But
So
back to your question. I went too far off from your question. Going back to your question, right? I think it ultimately comes down to what the casual gamer wants. I think the casual gamer wants better performance at a lower cost. And I think a Series S does exactly that.
Rejuvenating.
Probably supposed to be half the
Krupsa's bad
way. Try
says.
to get a monitor.
Where
Replicator
TF did that
incoming.
guy come from?
Have to find one that's compatible. Like maybe I forgot what it's called. BenQ. That's one of the only monitors that are compatible to do 120. And there, and even then, there are only some monitors that help with variable refresh rate, which the series consoles can do, but good luck finding it. Like, no, like honestly.
Yeah.
So, if you are, if like Ick said, if you are a casual, right, and you're looking, for the best, how do you say it, the best bang for your buck?
Yep.
Yeah, the Series S is a truly great console to work with, and let's be honest, most of us do not have 4K TVs just lying around.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
I think in terms of resolution, whether console says it's displaying 4K, I think there is some serious upscaling and downscaling issues. And I feel like a console when it's quote unquote in 4K isn't actually displaying 4K. Uh,
yeah, I agree.
I think I think that also I think you could equate it. No, 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 never mind. I'll cut it there. I'll cut it there.
Equate it to.
No, I just so some monitors to computer systems. Uh, no, okay. Here's the perfect example. When you're watching a YouTube video and it says and it has an option for the 4K quality, that does not mean you're necessarily watching a 4K video. If you're watching from your computer screen on a computer monitor that is a 1080p monitor, and you're watching uh, a 4K video, that does not mean you're looking at 4K at all. The quality might be better, but that's only the upscaling from YouTube. So to truly experience 4K, both of the components, in this case, YouTube video and the monitor, and also the hardware of the computer needs to at least support 4K to actually see 4K. There's a difference between a 1080p monitor watching in 4K and a 4K monitor watching in 4K. There's a stark difference. So I guess that's what I'm trying to equate it with the consoles and a 4K TV.
I gotcha. Yeah. That is honestly that is true. You're not actually, in most cases, you're not actually either like looking at it in 4K or just even
Mm-hmm.
playing some games in 4K. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
it's actually like reconstruction resolution, which is
Yep.
not, yeah, it's just it's not true 4K for sure. Cause
Mm-hmm.
it's even hard, like you I think in the past you've told me it's even kind of hard to do it for PCs, like trying to run like true 4K with more than 60 FPS. Like it's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but yeah. Uh, I guess the last thing I'm gonna end it with here is
Mm-hmm.
it's not really a question. It's more of because I'm gonna shout you out. Tell me about yourself on your YouTube channel.
Well, uh, My YouTube channel comprises of either gameplays or montages. I am a connoisseur of VR. However, I do just like casually playing. Uh, I think if you come to my YouTube channel, you'll enjoy the VR content more. Figuring that's the higher viewed videos. Uh, uh, I do have a lot more videos that are privated. I'm not sure if I want to make them public. Uh, my content can range from being edgy or just being cringy. I think cringy for a purpose. However, I think if you're just coming to my YouTube channel, I think you really aren't here for the content. I think you're here just just to watch uh, some fucker mess around. And you could definitely see that in my Blade and Sorcery dungeon video.
Good medicine.
I'm really just going around the dungeon.
We cannot allow.
We're trying to hack.
Feeling stronger already.
However, you can find some other videos where
Everybody needs a hand sometimes.
me giving
Or a
commentary is really cool. You're either here to hate on me or
Shanti's power.
You need to teach me that spell skill.
in the end of the day, I don't give a fuck.
Don't worry about the
As long as you watch most of my videos, watch my videos. If you don't watch my videos, then I'll find a way to fuck you and make you I'll force you to watch my videos. Especially my favorite YouTube videos that usually don't get a lot of attention and it's public. The Death of the Raging Cock. For you,
Oh.
I'm not gonna give the context behind it, but my friend No Density here understands the title very much, very much.
I gotta look at that video.
Get that vehicle moving again!
I do have
That is much better.
I do have projects
The moon.
not that will be released anytime soon, but I do have ideas. Big fan. Dying a lot. Hey, no context behind it, especially the title. The title has a little bit more deeper meaning.
Thanks. Another epic victory! Big win!
But I'll tell you what. Is this video that I'm uploading? I'll explain what what the whole context. but I thought we'll get 10 likes. But who knows?
Don't worry, I'll just bot the video.
I getcha.
And that's a joke. I don't own any bots. I don't know where to get them. Okay, just do not come after my head. All right.
We don't know.
Wink, wink. No.
We're kidding.
This is awful. This is awful. This is cut. Just cut it. Just cut it.
All right, guys. I will have to end it here. This has been, I get, yeah, it's been like a podcast slash interview. I'll definitely probably put that on the podcast list. This is gonna be episode 0.
What? Zero? This is ground zero, man.
Yeah,
No, no,
ground
no.
zero, the
Listen,
one
listen,
recorded.
this has just been me rambling my ass. I don't, this ain't no
Hey, that's a
this ain't no
podcast.
podcast. The fuck are you talking about? There's just a bunch of just
you brought up some good, like a lot of good points, and we had, a bit of conversation.
well, it is very subjective. I think another viewer can think differently.
Yeah.
Have different, and they're entitled to have a different opinion. I think I think you only asked me because you're aware that I'm interested in this space.
Suffer for what you've done.
Own a computer system myself. I've been using the system
Inspector's toy is out.
That
years
beacon should
now.
not vex us any further.
I think I would say I'm very familiar with the computer components that I built the computer myself, like inside out, especially since 2017, 2018, and I would like to thank you for asking
Come again.
me these questions. I would like to say,
Only
if
60
you don't
seconds
subscribe to No Density, they're listening. And wait, they record Discord calls.
Be only friendly. Shields up. School hunters wicked.
Listen,
Disappear.
I swear everything. You know what? I invoke my fifth amendment.
Shields up.
My strength is returning.
I'm not done with this fight. Down to 30 seconds.
We have no idea.
Get that feed moving
We
again.
have no idea how to do that. Do not have protection.
There's no intent.
By the eye of Agamotto!
Final 10 seconds.
That being said,
These beasts must belong to Nemo.
What the fuck? What do you mean?
It seems we have
Hey man, no.
Double kill.
The moon haunts you!
Almost there. Don't turn back now.
Yeah.
Reset point. Keep up the momentum.
definitely know more about computers.
A shortcut through space!
I recommend you
Bounding back into action.
doing like a tutorial. That would be
Energized.
Tutorial about what? No, you know what I'll do? I'll do a tutorial on how to install mods. But it has like this
Suffer for what
super
you've
early
done.
2000s
Fancy statue.
music playing in the back. The writing in a text file.
Vex us any further.
I have no idea who the Raging Cop is. Who is this Raging fella? This is I know. Come on, man. Really should have done better than that.
Here I come again.
I'm glad he's out of the airspace. I'm glad
Only 60 seconds left.
me and No Destiny here are able to.
Be only friendly. Shields up.
I'm glad we're able to be put on the radar and to be aware of such tomfoolery such as this region. Wherever he
My strength is returning.
I'm not done
That
with this
man
fight.
comes,
Down to 30
that man
seconds.
comes back with that.
Get that feet moving again.
it took the whole team.
Time to go nuts.
By the eye of Agamotto!
unless you're Tiger,
Final 10 seconds.
whoever that means.
These beasts must belong to me. It seems we have company.
Double kill.
The moon haunts you!
No. You said 10. Alright? I heard you.
Almost there.
10 legs. 10. 10. This ain't no fucking podcast, you're delusional.
A shortcut through
Thank you for having me.
Bounding back into action.
Alright guys, I'm gonna end it here. Hope you guys have a fantastic night or day or whatever. or if you're living, I don't know, if you're living on Mars, I don't know what I'm saying. If you're living on Mars.
Have a good shower, Wank.
Alright guys, no density and old man Ick out.
And anime girls are ruining my life.